All right, the United Kingdom putting Vladimir Putin on notice. Prime Minister Theresa May booting 23 Russian diplomats from her country over the chemical poisoning of an ex-spy. As Nikki Haley warns, America could be next.
If we don't take immediate concrete measures to address this now, Salisbury will not be the last place we see chemical weapons used. They could be used here in New York. The credibility of this council will not survive if we fail to hold Russia accountable.
No kidding. Talking tough. Steve Hilton is the host of The Next Revolution here on Fox. He also served as a strategy director for UK Prime Minister Cameron. Former now. He joins us now to react. So, in response to the poisoning of about 2 Russian agents in the UK, you guys, your former country, kicked out 23 Russian diplomats. Is that tough?
That's pathetically weak. Nikki Haley's response there is fantastic, very strong. The problem is when she says the credibility of the UN Security Council won't survive no action, I'd say, what credibility? The UN doesn't have any credibility. These diplomatic moves never have any credibility. Who thinks for 1 second that Putin's going to care about a handful of diplomats being kicked out? The only thing that will get his attention is to hit him where it hurts, which is the energy market, which is the lifeline that his whole rule depends on. So I'll tell you, we talk about
personal finances too.
Yeah, but it all comes from energy, from selling their oil and gas to Europe. And I tell you, we talk all the time about collusion with Russia. The one head of state, the one head of government who's colluding with Russia right now is Angela Merkel, because she is, this huge new pipeline is being built. It's a lifeline for Putin. If we really want to get tough, you've got to stand in the way of things like that. There's countries in Eastern Europe who are desperate to get off their dependence on Russian energy, and that's something that we could really do to help them. That would make much more difference than these kind of run-of-the-mill diplomatic games.
Meanwhile, you say that's a diplomatic game, but you say Donald Trump is actually squeezing the Russians.
Yeah, but I mean, the sanctions that are actually behind the scenes being put on, exactly as you say, to the wealthy Russians, the oligarchs, the economic sanctions, they're much tougher than anything you saw under Obama. Remember that this appeasement of Putin has been going on for years. Obama said explicitly that it wasn't his business to get involved when Russia marched into the Crimea and in Ukraine.
Think with me on this. Why would they want to? Notice how they were acting like Boy Scouts leading up to the Olympics. They didn't want any boycotts. Afterwards, they invade Crimea. Now they have the World Cup. Why would they do this now, risking teams like England staying out of the World Cup?
Because they've gotten away with it for year after year after year. That is exactly the point, that no one has ever stood up to Putin properly, and that's why it makes no difference what time of the year it is, what's happening, whether it's the World Cup or anything else. His election is coming up. He still does it because he knows he can get away with it.
They got it by corrupt practices to begin with. We should all stay home and avoid it. The U.S. did a good job staying home, getting eliminated.
That's it. Yeah, very smart strategic move.
All right, Steve Hilton, we're going to be watching your show this weekend. Wear green. It's St. Patrick's Day.
I will remember.